Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Today we'll start on Daf Nun Tes. Nun Tes Amud Aleph. That's 59a. We'll start, what is that? 5 lines from the top, 6 lines from the top. Reb Chia bar Abba, Ikla Lagavla. Reb Chia bar Abba.
Rabbi Smith, could you add, I have your site today for my grandfather, Holocaust survivor. So could you just add his name to the learning? Zecha Nishmas Dov Zev Ben Yechiel HaKohen.
Okay. We're learning
Thank you.
the Nishmas Dov Zev Ben Yechiel HaKohen. And of course, our learning is, the schus of our learning, we should have the base of Mikdash immediately. We're learning also for Shleima from my father and for Naftali ben Menucha Bela. And Dr. Stein, apparently, Hillel tells me that there's some comments on your videos, on your share, some likes and, thumbs up and all the good stuff. Very popular. I don't know if it's coming from Morocco.
That's funny. Yeah, all right, thank you.
Okay. Reb Chia bar Abba Ikla Lagavla. In the last Gemara, we had Rish Lakish that ends up in a place called Batra. And Rish Lakish commented to these people that what they're doing was wrong. And when he comes back to Rabbi Yechon says, no, go back to them and tell them that what they're doing was correct. There's no problem. Okay. Now we have Reb Chia bar Abba, who happens to be also a student of Rabbi Yechonon, a big student, a major student of Rabbi Yechonon. Gemara Brachas tells us that every 30 days he reviewed all Rabbi Yechonon's teachings. Rabbi Yechonon would correct him. So he was like an authoritative figure in the yeshiva. So Reb Chia bar Abba Ikla Lagavla comes to a place called Gavla. I have no idea where it is. The Koran probably tells me where it is. Anyway, because B'nai Yisrael the Mi'abram Me'evdikicham Shemalav Alei Tavla. He sees over there. Okay, so Gavla, they say, might refer to a city in the lower Galilee between Tiberias and Beit Shan. According to Josephus, was built by Herod. Some hold that it refers to the land of Seir. That's the Aruch quoted by Tosfos. Others maintain that it refers to the city of Gabla or Yabla, located on the coast of Syria, between Latakia and Tartus. All right. I saw that in Tosfos. He says Har Seir. Okay. So the first thing is that he sees that there were Jewish women that became pregnant from non-Jewish men that had gone to the mikveh, that were circumcised but had not yet gone to the mikveh, which means the conversion process wasn't complete, and they were pregnant from these men. These men were in the middle of the conversion process. Another thing, Chaza Chamra Demaz Goev de Kechavim V'Shasu Yisrael. He saw wine that a non-Jew had mixed. Remember, we mentioned this before, that mixing of the wine was problematic. What did we say? We said Lech Amrina Nazira. We said there was like a decree on that. Yeah. Okay. The next thing he saw was that they were drinking wine. The Jewish people were mixing wine the Jewish people were drinking wine that was mixed by idolater. The third thing is Chazat Termisa the Shalk Loiv Kacham Achli Yisrael. It's a type of bean called a lupine, and it's in Gemara language it's called termisa. There's a Gemara Brachas that says that in order to eat the termisa, you have to cook it 7 times. There's something in it that it doesn't go out until you cook it 7 times. And then when you cook it 7 times, apparently it's a nice dish. A lot of effort for some beans, but whatever the case is, he saw that the non-Jews were cooking the beans and the Jewish people were eating them. Rish Lakish doesn't tell him anything about these three things. Not Rish Lakish. This is Rabbi Chia bar Abba. Last case was Rish Lakish. Rabbi Chia bar Abba doesn't say anything. He comes back to Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Yochanan tells him, say, you have to go back and make an announcement. Say that the children of these women are mamzerim, which is very harsh. It means that they will have difficulty finding someone that they could marry. They can't marry from the community. They marry someone from outside the community. It's another convert or something. You have to announce that that type of wine is yayin nesach. If it's mixed by a non-Jew, you have to go tell them. And regarding that lupine bean, you have to tell them that it's cooked, it's considered cooked by a non-Jew, and food that's cooked by a non-Jew is prohibited because of the decree, right? Not to get too close to them. And the explanation why we're prohibiting this is because she'enim b'nei Torah, because they're not knowledgeable, and if we're going to allow it, they're going to confuse this with other things, and in other words, even though it should be permissible, but because they're in a B'nai Torah, we have to be strict on them. You know, like there are these medical books for what to do when you're expecting or something. You know, I'm talking about this, like the first year of the baby. Everything in the book is contact your medical provider. If this is contacting, everything is like they don't want to get sued, so everything. Anyway, something similar to that is going on over here. You have people that don't, without experience and this and that, and it's usher. It's us. It's a problem. Everything. Why is it a problem? Because you don't know what they're going to do, what mistakes they're going to make in this. So you have to say that it's usher. That's my mushal. Okay. Bad mushal. Like the Steins, yeah. It's a bad mushal.
Everyone assumes that it's because they're worried about liability. What happens to it? It's not. It's because, like, when the Rav really knows the Gemara, you just say a little bit, and if that's what the person takes based on their understanding, they might be totally wrong and go in the wrong direction. It says something like that in Pirkei Avos, by Dayanim or whatever.
Right.
So you have the disclaimer is there because if they don't consult the medical provider,
right,
they end up.
The mushal is good. My explanation was wrong. But yeah, it doesn't have to do with being sued. It has to do with because they won't know that the details matter.
Right. And it does. Hashem's in the details. Jewish version.
The Kabbalah there.
Okay. That's why learning is so important. That's true. Yeah. The details matter. Okay. Now we go back to explain these three statements from Rabbi Yochanan that he tells to Rabbi Chia bar Abba. Let's explain. Al b'neim sheim mamzerim. The sons are considered mamzerim, the children of non-Jew that lived with the Jewish woman. It's Rabbi Yochanan Tamei. Follows two teachings of Rabbi Yochanan. Dam Rabbi Yochanan, the process of conversion is really three steps. Rabbi Yochanan says it's two steps. The three steps would be circumcision, immersion, and then bringing the sacrifice. But the two steps are what's for nowadays is the circumcision and the immersion. It says that until you do both of them, you're 100% not Jewish. That's the Rabbi Yochanan's opinion. That's the way we follow. So he says you're 100% not Jewish, which means, okay, now he's a non-Jew. Now, V'amar Rabba bar B'chana Rabbi Yochanan. Rabba bar B'chana says name of Rabbi Yochanan. This is another opinion of Rabbi Yochanan. And when we put these two together, we're left with the statement that he made to Rabbi Chia bar Abba. He holds, Rabbi Yochanan holds, that a non-Jew or a slave that lives with a Jewish girl, the child is a mamzer. We don't hold like this. We hold that a mamzer comes from incest or a married woman. If we would hold like this, there would be so many mamzerim today because of intermarriage. He holds that every intermarriage is mamzerim. Rabbi Yochanan held that. So okay, so now we have the person isn't Jewish because there's 2 steps to the process. He didn't finish the second step, and also because the second part of that is that a intermarriage creates a mamzer. Okay, now the next halacha. Al yena mishum yayin esech. Their wine is yayin esech. It was mixed with water by a non-Jew. Mishum lech lech amrina nazira. We tell the nazir, go away from here. Schar, go around. L'karma l'sikrav. Don't come close to the vineyard. Okay, so it's not because it's an actual problem, but it's because of a rabbinic decree. Yeah. Now, Rashi before said that it's only usher the shtia. It's not usher b'hana. Yeah, Trump said. Rashi says that before. Okay. By the way, this is an interesting Gemara. I don't know if I'm going to get to it. Maybe Dr. Stein is going to teach it. But at the end of this parak, Rashi has something in 2 daf. You have a traditional Gemara. Rashi has maskana de milsa. Rashi sums up the sugya here. He tells you what things. Rashi only in like several places in Shas will say the hilchasa. The halacha is this is the halacha. One is in Shabbos in Parakira, the 3rd chapter. It's Machlekes Chananya and Chachamim about returning things to the oven. About on Shabbos, if you take it off, you can put it back on. Those types of things. Leaving it. The Rashi over there says v'hilchasa. Another one is in Chulin. Rashi says v'hilchasa, and then it seems like over here that he has like maskana de milsa, like he's paskin. Rashi is just a commentary. It doesn't paskin for you. You know, those things you figure out. He's just explaining what the Gemara is saying. Rashi has chuvas, of course. Chuvas of Rashi. That would be something else. Okay. Someone wanted to say that I heard this from Rabbi Janowski. Said that Rashi is a Gilgal of Rav, and Shmuel and the Rambam is a Gilgal of Shmuel. So when it comes to Dinim Amanas, Chesed Mishpat, so the Shulchan Aruch is basically word for word. Shulchan Aruch Chesed Mishpat is word for word from the Rambam, Chesed Mishpat, the monetary laws, because Allah is like Shmuel B'dinei. Rashi is a Gilgal of Rav. The halacha is like Rav Bisuri. That's why in the 3 places of the halachas of ritual law, of kashrus and Shabbos, and the Ayin Esech, you have Rashi saying v'hilchasa. Yeah, that follows that. Interesting. Anyway, the next case was Termisen. Termusin. It sounds like that dessert, Termisa. It's not a dessert. This is a bean. Termusin, mishum b'shuli of the kechavim. When it comes to the bean that was cooked by the non-Jew and they were eating it, so Rabbi Yochanan said that it's considered bishul akum. It's cooked by a non-Jew. And we added in because lefishein b'nei Torah, because they're not knowledgeable, so we have to prohibit it. Time and day in b'nei Torah. What's the reason why this is prohibited? Because they're not b'nei Torah. They're not Torah scholars. Not from Lakewood, right? Or from Muncie. B'nei Torah, but if they be Torah scholars in Shari, then they'd be allowed. Really? What are you talking about? It's not because they're not B'nai Torah. This is totally prohibited. Because if it's not eaten raw, what are things where the laws of Bishul Akum don't apply to? Things that like vegetables that you could eat raw. not because of sushi. The things that are edible raw.
No, they do it to sushi because it's got parasites. So never any salmon any salmon you buy is flash frozen for 20 seconds, whatever, because otherwise they all have parasites in it. It's gross.
Oh yeah.
Unfortunately, that's the reason. So whatever sushi grade salmon you buy is
It's flash frozen.
we don't see it.
That would mean that it needs a hechsher. The salmon that's frozen. You're allowed to buy fresh salmon without a hechsher. But frozen salmon, I understand, there's a problem. You need a hechsher.
I don't know. This I was told by one of the guys who does catering. Said
that. Okay, that's very interesting. So what we're learning here is that since this bean is not edible raw, so anything that's not edible raw has the laws of Bishul Akum, right? So if it has the laws of Bishul Akum, so then it doesn't have to do with B'nai Torah or not. It's prohibited. Marianne says Rabbi Yochanan ki elish nesvirli. Rabbi Yochanan holds like another version. Rabbi Shmuel bar Yitzchak Amarav. Shmuel bar Yitzchak said in the name of Rav. Shmuel bar Yitzchak said the first one in the name of Rav, that if it's not edible raw. That second one is that what's the second statement of Rav? Kol she'ena oila l'shulchan malachim lafos be'esapasim b'mishum b'shulevet kichavim. Anything that doesn't go on the king's table as part of the main course to come together with the bread. So then there's no bishul akum there. Yeah, it has to be something that would be served at the main course of a meal. That would mean that fish, for example. Well, let's say fish was a problem. Let's say chicken. Chicken is not eaten raw. Can't eat chicken raw, and you would get it at a fancy dinner, at a shul dinner, at a yeshiva dinner, at a wedding. You would get it something like that. So that requires bishul yisrael. Other things that won't be oil al shulchan malachim, that you wouldn't serve it at a dinner. Would that be something that you won't serve at a dinner? As part of the main course? What could that be? Corn? No.
Pretzels.
What is it?
Pretzels.
Pretzels.
Hot pretzel.
Yeah. So here, I'm trying to avoid a food item that's mezainas, because then it goes under another category of pas, and pas Yisrael doesn't have that issue. So we
would say a radish.
Radish. It's interesting because potatoes they serve at a dinner. That's
like a
potato.
Old radish.
So no, the problem with the radishes are eaten raw. The issue is that it won't be served at the meal. Rice is served at a meal. Right. So what's something that's a grain that's maybe this other certain grains that aren't like that. Quinoa, but that would be served at a dinner.
I think it's a stew. But maybe just to dip the bread and the stuff.
Right. That's one of the. It's interesting that
anything from England.
Interesting. Yitzi's saying that if it's from England, you won't serve it at the meal. The problem is that everything from England says on it by appointment to the Queen.
Oh.
And there goes all of that.
Shepherd's pie. Those bread puddings.
No, but they put it on everything. They put it on the cigarettes. They put it on a box of matches. Okay. So it has to be something that would be served at a king's table. I think the way that a lot of people view this is like this, that if it's not made in a way that it would be served at the table, then there's no problem. For example, potato chips would not be served as part of the main course. Maybe they serve it for some other snack, but not at the main course. It has to be lalafis asapat. So rice cakes, these things, rice cakes may be baked, it's probably cooked. Popcorn. So those are things that are not don't have a problem of bishalakum. If you accept this view of, see, there's one other opinion that says you have to look at the species, not at the way that it's made. Okay, whatever the case is, time of day b'nei Torah. So if they're not b'nei Torah, then there's a problem of b'nei Torah. But if there would be b'nei Torah, then it would be permissible. So in other words, the main point of this Gemara is that lupines, this termusin, are beans that are not edible raw, but they would not be served at the king's table. So therefore, really, it's permissible to eat if it's cooked by a non-Jew, but because they're not b'nei Torah, it's not. We accept both of the opinions, by the way. Taisha says, "Pasak Rabbeinu Tam kahani treilishni." See then, Taisha is passing like both statements of Rav. It needs to be, there's two qualifications to be bishalakum. Right? It needs to be not eaten raw. And also, it has to be oil al shulchan aruch. You need two to mess it up. They asked the question from Rav Kana. Is a non-Jew, an idolater, allowed to bring the grapes to the wine press? Amalahu, Asr. Rav Kana says it's not allowed. They don't come close to the vineyard, we tell the Nazir. Isi Rabbi Yemel Rav Kana. Rabbi Yemar asked Rav Kana the following question: If the non-Jew brings the grapes to the wine press in baskets, ubidudurin, and in these types of
Small
casks, yeah, some types of barrels. Even though there's wine that's sprinkled over these grapes, it's mutter. What are you telling me it's usher? You have a clear brisa that it's mutter. Amarle, heidi kamrit. That brisa says that if it was brought, it's mutter. You asked me if you're allowed to. I was saying, should you do it? I said the answer is no. Once it's brought, it doesn't mean that it's usher. So the chatchila b'di'evet. Who esrega denafal chavisa dechamra. There was an esrog that fell into a barrel of wine. Okay. The non-Jew leaped into action, and he grabbed the esrog. Ravashi says, you have to hold the non-Jew's hand. You have the non-Jew's hand stuck in the wine now, and he could ruin the wine, right? Because first of all, there's maga here. He touched the wine. So really, it should be, it's asa b'shtia, I guess. You're not allowed to drink it. Ravashi is saying that you can still sell it unless he shikhshukh means to agitate. So I think shikhshukh is like an onomatopoeia. Shikhshukh. Is that okay? Okay. So you have to hold his hand and let the wine out by tilting the barrel without him moving his hand. If he moves his hand, he's going to agitate the wine, and that would make the wine asr ba'ana. So you got to grab in, stick your hand into the wine, grab his hand, hold it from moving, and then tilt the barrel so he doesn't move his hand to.
And then you could sell the wine.
And then you can sell the wine.
But how's that different than what you said at the beginning? You made the comment
that it's
so
maga.
He could have sold the wine. You said he put his hand in.
No, if he agitates it, he can't.
But you said when he just touches it.
Let's say he can't drink it, but he can still sell it.
Okay, and in the end, we're also saying he can still sell it, but he can't drink it.
Yeah.
So what's the difference?
No, because if he moves his hand, then he won't be able to sell it either. He won't be able to have enough from it. So you have to grab his hand, make sure he doesn't move it, then we can sell the wine.
I'm sorry, maybe I'm not saying, but you started and you said, but the fact that he touched it, you could only sell it, you can't drink it, you can only sell it. So your Havamina was, or your ratio was, if I understood you, he can only sell it. and then in the end you tell me hold his hand, pour out the wine, because then you can only sell it. So what's the difference that you're telling me about shikshach, this, that, etc. If at the beginning,
Yeah, because if he does shikshach, he can't sell it either.
so both ways you can't sell.
No.
If there's shikshach, you can't sell it at all.
Yeah. Yes, the shikshach would make it very prohibitive. This is just prohibitive. Yeah, I think that's the pshat. Yeah. Is there a comment there? Did I get this correctly?
I comment.
Okay. Amar Ravashi. Bartua means you tilt it at the shaif until it empties out. Amar Ravashi. Ravashi says, "Hi, I would come the Naskal Hamad Yisrael bekavana." Wow, this is a nasty fellow. You have an idolater that pours the wine of a Jew intentionally. Afalgav, Ravashi says, Afalgav, even though the Lizvuni Lev Kamachir Nasser, now your wine is messed up, you can't sell it to someone else. However, but you're allowed to take payment from the guy that did that. My taima, Miklakali, it's as if he burnt it. But it's interesting. We would say Hezek Shein and Nicker. I thought a Hezek Shein and Nicker is Leishme Hezek. A hezek that's not visible. But maybe that's only for a Jew. Maybe for a... Yeah, I understand. But now you're allowed to take what the point of this halacha is that even though if you want to take this wine and sell it to someone else, it's prohibited because it's yayin nesach. But the guy that poured the wine, you can take payment from. It's not considered that you're selling it to him. When he damaged it, it was still kosher. You're taking money for the damages. That's the idea of it.
It's like a lawyer, isn't it that you can only sue if there's intent? No, that's America. But I mean, in order to have a potential to win, isn't there like 3 requirements? Damage intent has to be one of them. What are they? Can you say?
Sir, are you paying me for this? I'm not saying anything.
When
Okay.
I have a question. No, when do
Sir, I need a retainer.
you retain what, to keep your mouth shut?
Yeah. Okay. So this was interesting because this is with intent.
Intent, yeah. Intent is what made the difference. Once you have intent, all right, then you're liable, all right, and that's why he can sue him for everything. It's like treble damages. Okay, I don't need my lawyer for this.
On the one before, problem, it was just that he was holding his hand, so like by mistake he wouldn't edit it because the intention wasn't there on the one before.
Yeah, there wasn't. That's true. The one before there was no intention, but that was mutter bahana. Over here it's asr bahana. Here it's prohibited. Okay. Amar Ravashi mino aminala. How do I know this? That you can take a payment. The Tanya was taught in the Brisa. If a non-Jew pours wine, even if there's no idol there, but he pours the wine, it's asr. Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava, Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira, matir mishum shnei dvarim. However, there are 2 sages that allow this. Echa, Jain Menasche, and Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava, Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira. Those are the 2 sages, both Rabbi Yehudas. One of them is because Jain Menasche yain al b'fnei avodah tzcham, because yain nesach is only if there's an idol there. The second one is Rechad Shaimalai Ve'echad, and another one is Shaimalai loikal heimenach shetesa yeni lainsi. Says you can't prohibit my wine. What's happening here is interesting. Ravashi is not accepting the opinion of those 2 sages because they would say that it's permissible to sell the wine. He's saying that you can't sell the wine. However, you can still get payment from it, from the person that did it, and he's using the logic of those 2 sages to be lenient and say that you can still get payment. Very interesting. It's like a combination of both opinions. It's prohibited, but you see that there's another opinion, so at least you can get the payment from the person that did it.
Be the same as like if he sells them the kosher wine. Same. For example, like in some stores, they have like you break it, you pay for it.
Right.
Which could be,
Right. That's what we're saying. Before he paid.
so it's not damages. He's selling the kosher wine.
No, because he can't sell it. He can't sell this wine. No. So that's the difference between damages and selling it. Damages is the damages from before. The selling it would mean you're taking the wine and selling it now. That you can't do. Damages is when it was good, this is what you damaged.
They can make him pay the price before the damage. So
You are that no.
They damage the wine. Like make him take the damaged wine and pay me full price. That's what they do in these stores where they break it up.
Hillel's bringing up a point. What happens to the wine? Can the non-Jew keep the wine? Or do you have to take the payment and not give him the wine also? L'chari, you take the payment and you don't give him the wine.
It's
It's
a fine.
prohibited.
It's a fine sale.
We
So
can,
if you
Right.
give it to him, you sell him. But
Right.
the fine is.
can
Yeah, but you can't doing anything with the wine means that you can't give him the wine. That's what it means. You can't do anything with the wine. Okay, ho chavisa de chamra. There was a barrel of wine, the shtakel lebarza, that the barza is the faucet of the barrel spigot. The spigot fell off, broke off. Also, Idre, this non-Jew came, he jumped into action. He put his hand on it, put his finger in the dike. Remember that story? He put his finger in to block the wine from coming out. Amar Rav Papa says, Kodal hadi barza chamra aser. Anything that's next to all the wine that's next to that spigot is all aser. Why? It's touched by the non-Jew. Aser to drink. Rashi points out, it says it's mutter to have hana from, because the non-Jew wasn't able to wiggle his finger in this hole to do shichshach, to agitate the wine. That would make it aser bahana, but he wasn't able to do that because it's too tight.
Or was he just holding his palm on it to stop any flow? That's what we're talking about. That obviously there is no shifshuf.
Maybe. And we don't have that the picture, at least with the kid that put his hand,
Well, never
throws his
was
finger in the
saved.
tight. The idach, the rest of the wine is shari. The rest of the wine is mutter. Rashi says even to drink. Vikadamri. Those that say,
Drain it.
yeah, they would have to get it out through the top, depending on where the spigot is. We'll see in a second. Some say that the way Rav Papa says it is like this, that up until the spigot, I guess from the bottom, no, ad habarza, from the top down to the spigot, it's aser.
The tanks,
but the rest of it is shari.
sometimes the tanks have more than one on the bottom to empty it out, to clean it, and one a few feet from the bottom to get clean wine. If you want to take it to test it, sometimes a guy opens it. It's interesting.
Woo! So anything that's above the spigot is going to be aser, because the non-Jew was holding all the wine in. Josh, you see, it's his. Okay. Rav Yemer. Rav Yemer says kitanai. This is actually a machlaikas. It says chavish shenikva. There's a barrel that has a hole in it. Bein mipia, bein mishala. Whether the hole is on the top, whether it's on the bottom. Bein mitzideh, whether it's on the side. V'naga by tvul yaim. And a tvul yaim is someone that went to the mikveh but didn't wait for nightfall, so he could still contaminate things, liquid. So the tvul yaim touches it. Tmei, it's tummy. Rabbi Yehuda says no. Mipia Mishila, if he touches it from the top of the bottom, then it's Tameya.
I looked at the story. Yeah, it's
Of
not,
the
a real,
dike?
it's not a real story. It was written by this guy, Hans. He says, if you want to save the town from a dike that's about to bust open, just don't use your finger, use a bolt. You know? In other words, that's what you need. It's going to bust open. Finger ain't going to do anything. Get a bolt and then let everyone jump in the bolt.
Okay. From the top and the bottom, it's Tameya, it's Tameh. Now, from the bottom, I understand why it's Tameh. Because he's really holding the whole water. Why from the top is it Tameh? And so, Rashi says that because all the wine that's underneath it is a support for the wine that's above it. So it's considered attached.
Come again.
Or
Very important, very important. If you touch the wine on the bottom, so you basically, it's considered like you touched all the wine because you're holding all the wine in by doing that. So it's all tummy. If you touch the wine on the top, then all the wine that's underneath it is support for the wine that you touch. So it's all considered attached to the tummy. But on the side, it's not considered attached. You have to take into account over here that the concept of, do you view things as attached or not? Like, remember you said nitzuk, when you're pouring it, does it travel up? It doesn't always travel up. So here we're saying that it travels down, it's considered attached when it's directly above it. But if the spout is on the side, we say that you only touch the part that was on the side.
the side hustle,
Okay.
not support.
Right. Mitzideh, tahira mikan mikan. Then from either end, it's going to be permissible. This was like Rav Papa said, that because you didn't support that part of the wine.
That's interesting. We didn't read yet that he grabbed the.
That's the next case. That's
Right,
coming
that's
out.
what I'm saying,
Whoa,
because it
whoa,
leads
whoa.
right into it.
That's
Whoa.
coming
It
out.
makes them, whoa, oh, listen, it's great, but don't forget this.
You drive in
I'm
the
saying
car.
the fact that
Right.
from the side, it's okay,
Right.
because it leads into one.
Once we fast, he goes.
Amar Rav Papa. Rav Papa
didn't
says,
say
"David kechav ma'adana v'Yisrael akuva." Let's say you have a barrel and you have a jug, and you pour from the barrel into the jug. The kuva is, how they translate it, as a jug or a flask or
Jug.
a jug. Okay, so the non-Jew is holding the barrel and the Jew is holding the jug. So the non-Jew is going to be pouring. Chamra said that's a problem. My taima, what's the reason? It's coming with the power. The koycha apparently is a problem. Is it aser b'hana? You say Rashi says it's aser b'hana. Same like mixing, Rashi says. But I thought we said before that koycha wasn't aser. Oh, the koycha shlei b'kavana wasn't aser. Koycha shlei b'kavana wasn't aser. This is koycha b'kavana. He has intention to pour it. Okay. Yisrael, let's go the opposite. Yisrael adanav makuva. Let's say it's the opposite. Let's say the Jew is holding the barrel, and the non-Jew is holding the flask, the jug. So chamashari, then it's going to be permissible. The mitzaded datsude means mitzaded sedude, and if when he's pouring it, he tilts the jug, then it's aser. Then it's going to be aser. Now, why is it aser? So Rashi has different interpretations. One is that maybe he's going to touch it. Other one is maybe he's what is mukarkish? In shechshach. Does that mean he's supporting the barrel when he's tilting it?
When you want to stop, when you're pouring, you touch it and it stops it from pouring. So if the Yid's doing it, he stops it. If a guy's doing it, he'll stop it.
Very interesting. So he's stopping the pouring. Let me take a look how they write it over here. Dilma Mekarkish means to agitate. 1 second. But if you adjust the position of the jug as the wine is poured, the wine is prohibited. In number 11, one explanation, there's a few. One explanation is that the Jew fills the jug to the top so that there's no concern that the idolater touch the wine while moving his hands. Another explanation is that even the jug is not filled, the idolater's intention of shifting the jug is itself reason to prohibit the wine for consumption. Rashi states explicitly that when an idolater moves wine with his force, it is prohibited merely for consumption. And when Rav Papa says aser, he means for consumption. It follows that Rav Papa's first statement too, that when an idolater pours the wine, it is prohibited, means that it's prohibited for consumption. This conforms with the manuscript version of Rashi above. Okay, there's different opinions here. Okay, Amar Rav Papa. Papa says, "Hayav kechavim the dari zika the kaazal yisrael achrei mal yashari delay mekarkesh chasera asidilma mekarkesh." So I have a non-Jew here that's carrying a zika is a wine skin, a leather flask. Now he's carrying this leather flask, and the Jew is going behind him. And you can see that the non-Jew didn't touch it. If the wine flask is full, then it's going to be permissible, because if it's full, then it doesn't get agitated when you shake it; it stays there. Chasera, but if it's not full, then it's also dilma mekashkish, because then that's something that you could shake. You want to shake it well, you have to leave some space there to shake it. Kuva malya aser. How do they translate the kuva? An open jug. An open jug that's full is aser. Dilmanaga, that's a separate problem, that maybe he touched it. Chasera, but if it's not full, then it's shari. Delay naga, because he didn't touch it. Why didn't he touch it? Because I guess he can't get his finger in it. But shouldn't there be another problem? That if it's chasera, maybe he agitated it?
Why can't you say he took a sip and touched his lips and then went back down for spitting it? Oh, if it's open, it's open.
They don't want it to spill. If it's full and you try to do movement, it will spill out. You lose money, you lose wine.
So, but what about, I understand, but let's say when it's not full.
Then you could mix it without it spilling.
I know, but it says shari. It says that it's permissible.
They add up, they can put in touch of what is wrong.
It says, you're right. It says because you don't do shich when it's open. Maybe it will splash. Maybe that's the shot. Rashi Amar, what do you need?
Live demonstration.
Oh yeah. Rashi Amar Zika, when it's talking about the flask, bein malya, bein chasera, it's shari. Whether it's full or whether it's empty, it's going to be permissible. My time in derech nisach b'kaf. This is not the way that wine is poured. When it comes to nisach, they wouldn't use the flask. What would they use? Let's see over
But
here.
they say that they wouldn't use the wine that they can't see. That's why they wouldn't use it.
Oh,
the Rambam.
Case of a wineskin, whether it's full or incompletely filled, it's permitted. What's the reason? It's because this is not the typical manner of offering a libation. He doesn't give any explanation.
They start off with that, and then
Ramban does.
16. The agitating libation was performed by inserting one's hand to the
Go on.
wine, like not
That's fair enough.
shaking the container.
Others
Others explain Rav Ashi to mean that the adults did not perform libations with wine that they cannot see.
commodities.
Rav Ashi disputes only Rav Papa's ruling regarding wine in a partially filled other flask. He agrees, however, that when the idolater carries an open jug of wine that is full, he renders it prohibited since he can easily touch the wine. Okay, we're talking about then when he can't touch it. Ma'atra Zara. This is a wine press, and you have a picture there.
Looks so
Rav
cool.
Papa Shari. Rav Papa says that, but if there's a non-Jew that's working in the wine press, it's still permissible. Rav Ashi, Vitem Rav Simi Barashi, Aser. Rav Ashi, and some say it's Rav Ashi's son, Rav Simi Barashi, says that it's Aser. B'koichai kol yam le'pligid Aser. If it's direct force of the non-Jew, then everyone agrees that the wine is Aser. When do they argue? When it's not his direct force, in other words, it's not his foot directly. That's what are they doing? Probably there's a wheel that you turn that turns this thing that pushes the beams and all of that. That's kayach kaycha. You turn this and that pushes that, and then that's not considered directly touching it.
But I thought it's not wine until it goes down, what we learned the other day.
That's a problem.
The thing on top is not. That's why the Jew can be stamped with it. Seems to contradict the previous.
Yeah, Dr. Stein is asking a very good question. We learned before that until it goes into the pit.
Yeah. Well, I was asking. It's not grape juice. It's grape juice. What is it?
I don't know the answer. There's another version of this. Everyone says there's no machlekes. Everyone says that it's permissible. The whole machlekes is only when it's direct force. However, there was a case with kayach kaychai, and Rabbi Yaakov and Har Pekod, and Rabbi Yaakov and Har Pekod said that it's aser. Hu chavisa was a barrel. The ipaka laorka. It's split lengthwise. This is what Dr. Stein was talking about. Ijiu guy chavke. It was split straight down. So it starts to open up like.
That's how they make the kiss. The oak beams go down,
right,
and it's held together by a metal belt. What if it starts to give way?
So what happened was this non-Jew jumps into action and he gives it a big hug with his arms. So Shayi Rav Bar Papa says that the wine is permissible. Item Rav Huna Brei Rav Yishua, and some say it was Rav Huna Brei Rav Yishua. L'zvuni l'gayim. He said that you could sell it to non-Jews, but not for drinking. Why not for drinking? I guess because it was this. He supported the wine. But this is only if it's split to the length. But if it's split to the opposite from top to bottom, so then afilu b'shtiya shari, half and half, like horizontal. So then you can even drink it. My time and my covered. The fact that he's holding it in is just because he's pushing down on a brick, like he put a brick on it. So good
healthy.
Probably Akam over here. There was a non-Jew that was found in the wine press, standing in the wine press, probably drinking. Rav Ashi, Rashi says, if there's enough wine in the wine press that it can make something wet, enough to make something else wet, it's basically an empty wine press. So then what do you have to do? You have to wash it off, and then you also have to dry it, cleaning. However, but if it's not enough wine to moisten other things, then then it's enough just to rinse it. There's going to be a Gemara later on that's going to discuss how to clean this the wine press. Okay, let's leave it here at the Mishnah.
Great job, everybody.
What's today's daf actually?
Renee, your grandfather's neshama should have an aliyah. Dive.
Yeah, he ran to say Kaddish. Okay.
Also, my wife's father Eitan Ben Yisrael.
There's also Yartzeit. Eitan Ben Yisrael.
Zara.
Zara. Also Yartzeit.
Have a good day.